welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Kyla, and wow, I read a lot of books in the month of January. Specifically, I read 18 books in the month of January. Do I recommend doing that? No, absolutely not. Did I have a great time while doing it? Yes, absolutely did. But this was a lot. It was a hefty reading month for me. I got laid off from work, and like, what better way to escape reality than like escaping to books? And that's really what I did. This does not happen normally. This is extreme in my opinion, but like, I had a great time. We're gonna talk about it today, and buckle up. Also, I'm not going to give like a deep dive into the synopsis of every single one of these books because we would be here forever. You don't want that. I don't want that. My legs do not want that. I don't think I would have feeling in my legs left if we did that. So I will give you a brief little overview, some keywords, some buzzwords, and then just go into my rating. I think that's it. Let's just get started. So of course we're going to start with the 2 DNFs that I had this month, because when you're reading a lot, you really do have to prioritize like what you're actually enjoying, and these books just were not it for me. The first one was The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. Why is that so hard to say? Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. There we go. Yeah, this was just like not my jam. This main character was just, there's like paranoid, like I consider myself a very aware human, especially as someone who loves true crime. Like, I'm on the lookout. I see you, okay? I am aware of my surroundings. There's that, and then there's like straight up paranoid, and this main character was like making me feel uncomfortable and paranoid, and like I should be looking around. Like, it was just too much. She just was not it for me. And then also there just became a point where there was a scene with her and her therapist's son, and I was like out at that point. Absolutely not. I could not get past it. It just was too much for me. It was, my jaw hit the floor and I said, absolutely not. Nope, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I just was so uncomfortable and like could not wrap my brain around it. So I just said no. It makes me sad because I love Grady Hendrix, or at least I have loved Grady Hendrix, but it just was not engaging enough for me, and I like could not push past this main character. She was annoying me so much, and I was not enjoying my reading experience, so we DNF'd that one. And then my second DNF makes me so sad, but like, I'm glad I'm not alone in this after being on the live show for this, and it is Wonderland by Jennifer Hillier. This was the book troop pick for the month of January, and I am not alone in this. There were a lot of people who did not enjoy this, including Gabby and Liv themselves. I think Gabby gave it 2 stars and Liv gave it 1, but both of them said they also would have DNF'd it if it weren't for the book club. So I feel valid in my feelings. This one, the writing just felt so dated. I was engaged a little bit at the beginning with the story, but then it just kept dragging and dragging, and there were so many characters that I felt like there just were so many point of views we didn't need, and there was not enough happening at the actual theme park, which is like the whole premise of this book, is like there's something creepy happening at this theme park and at this amusement park, but like there weren't a lot of sorry, I thought I saw a stink bug. It was not. I'm getting inundated with stink bugs here, and it's just too much. Anyways, there was not enough scenes at the theme park to like keep me engaged, and I just like did not care. So DNF. Luckily for me, I didn't have any 1-star or 2-star books, so we're just going to jump right into the 3-star books. And the first one is actually a 3.5, and that is Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. I actually finished this on New Year's Eve, so technically this is a December read, but I didn't talk about it in my December wrap-up. So here we are. This is like Charlie's Angels meets Golden Girls. Really, that's all you need to know about it. It was fun. I had a good time. It wasn't super memorable or didn't leave like a lasting impact on me, but I did enjoy my time reading it. Deanna Raybourn's writing is always so fun. I just love the way that she writes strong women, but also like sassy women, and I'm just here for it. So it was a good time. Like I said, it wasn't anything super memorable, but if you like Golden Girls, if you like Charlie's Angels, and you like the idea of them being mixed together, this book is for you. And then I read a couple of more books on Tiffany D. Jackson's backlist this month. The first one being White Smoke. This is a haunted house, paranormal kind of vibe here, and I gave it 3 stars. I really enjoyed it. She writes characters so well, and this book had a lot of family drama in it, but I just love how she takes something like a haunted house story and turns it into something so much deeper. She covers so many other conversations, and she does this in a lot of her books I'm finding, and I love that she takes real life inspiration and brings that into her books as well. In this one, we have a main character, and her family just moved to this new neighborhood because of some things that happen in her other town. You don't really know what they are. It's kind of a mystery. And then they move to this new town, this creepy house, and some things start happening, and things unfold from there. Like I said, gave it 3 stars. I really enjoyed it. The writing is gorgeous. It didn't like suck me in as much as like The Weight of Blood did, but I still had a really good time. And again, I just love the conversations that this book covers, from mental health to topics of drug use to racial commentary. Like, there's just so much packed into this, and I just really enjoyed it. I also listened to this on audio, and I would highly recommend doing that. I find that a lot of Tiffany D. Jackson's books are so good on audio. She really does nail the casting and the voices, and it was just really well fleshed out, and like I said, I really enjoyed it. Next, we have a book that was included in my horror reading vlog, and that is The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. I feel like I'm kind of the oddball out on this rating. I've seen so many people rating this really high, and I really did enjoy it. Again, this is another kind of haunted house story. This takes place in the aftermath of the War of Independence in Mexico, and we are following our main character, Beatrice, who just got married and moves into her husband's hacienda, and some creepy things start going down. The atmosphere in this book is absolutely incredible. I loved it. The descriptions of the hacienda, the descriptions of what was happening in the house, I felt like I was there. It was really amazing. The writing is incredible, but overall, I just felt like okay about this and where the story went. It didn't leave like a lasting impression on me. I don't feel like I'm going to remember exactly how the story unfolds going forward, which is why it got a 3-star. I do like the turn that this takes. It definitely takes a little bit of a twist, and I don't want to give it away. I really enjoyed, and I like stories that kind of go in that direction. But overall, like I said, this just wasn't like super memorable. But if you're looking for a book that's creepy, that has incredible atmosphere, and takes like a little bit of a different turn, definitely check this one out. And my last 3-star of the month of January was actually a 3.5-star, and I recently read this, and it's The House Made by Frida McFadden. This was so fun. This is a mystery slash thriller with a very simple plot. The only thing I'm going to say is that a maid moves into a family to help them out, and obviously some things start going down. That's really all you need to know about this. I feel like this book, you just really need to not know anything more than that to go into it to really enjoy it, because the plot line is so simple. With that being said, though, it is so incredibly well done. It is so fast. This is definitely a binge-worthy book. It's just over 300 pages, and this could definitely be read in one sitting. Like, it's so fast-paced, the chapters aren't too long, and it's written in a way that you just need to keep going. You need to know what's happening, you need to get to the next scene, and it was just so fun. I mean, it's dark and it's twisty, but it was fun, and I had a great time. So if you're looking for a really fast-paced thriller that's not gonna leave you like dumbfounded and shocked, maybe it will, maybe it won't, but if you can look past that and just go, I'm just gonna have a great time, I just need a thriller that's like fun, that I don't want to, it's not lighthearted, if that's fun, that's gonna be a fast read, this one is for you for sure. Alright, let's move on to the 4 stars, which is the bulk of my reading this month. I had some great reads. They weren't like absolutely perfect, but they were just there. So the first one is The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the next in the Inheritance Game series. I'm not going to go too much into detail on this one. I did a reading vlog where I read this, so if you want to see it, you can check out that vlog. All of the vlogs that I did related to any of these books will be linked in the description, so you could just go there, binge if you'd like, but I loved this. The first one in the series is by far superior, but this is my second favorite. I just love how she wrapped up every little tiny minuscule detail in this book. Like, she did not leave anything unturned. We got everything, every plot line from the first 2 books that you were like, I'm not sure how that's gonna work out, or like, hello, we didn't get an answer to that question, got wrapped up in this one, and I loved it. I also just loved the unraveling of this. In this one, we are following Avery as she's just about to turn 18 and kind of has to decide what to do with this inheritance, and then a stranger shows up at Hawthorne Manor and throws everyone for a loop, pretty much. And it's fun. Like the rest of the series, it's just a good time. And I don't have the brain to figure out these riddles along the way, so books like this are really fun for me. I can figure out a thriller, I can predict a plot twist, but riddles are like a whole different side of the brain that just like my brain does not compute. So books like this, where they include games and you have to like unscramble things or whatever, always just like blow my mind. And I think that's why, one of the reasons why I love this series so much, because it's just like a good time for me. And yeah, I loved the ending. I thought it was so fun. I thought it was perfect. Although I know that it's not like the ending, but I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And then we have the other book that I read in that video, and I finished the ACOTAR series, The Court of Silver Flames. And yes, I know, y'all gonna come for me for not having this be a 5-star read, but for me, it's just a 4-star. For me, Wings and Ruin will always be by far the superior book in the series. That one is my absolute favorite. I understand why people love this one so much. The bad bitch feminine energy throughout this book is so real, and like, I'm here for that. Do not get me wrong. I love that. But the rest of it, I was just like, okay. I just felt like it was a little bit drawn out. I mean, it's very long. Don't get me wrong, it had my attention, okay? And as per usual in a Sarah J. Maas, or at least in this series, the last like chunk of the book is where the bread and butter of the book is. And for me, that stayed true to this. I feel like this could have been so much shorter and my enjoyment probably would have been a little bit more. I also just felt like the ending was too fast. I wanted more of that and less of what was going on at the beginning. I understand we have to unravel this journey, we have to get there, but I felt like that part could have been a little bit shorter. We could have fleshed out the ending a bit more. I would have really enjoyed that. So that's why it's a 4-star. Okay? I understand where you're coming from. Do not come for me. I still had a grand old time, and I still love this series as a whole. But for me, Wings and Ruin is the best. Apparently, we're just going to talk about all of the books that I read in vlogs in this little section, because the next book is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Gave this 4 stars. I loved this. This is exactly what I was looking for in a haunted house vibe. Oh my god, it's so good. The atmosphere in this is incredible. The whole cast of characters in this is so beyond creepy. Like, they just give me major Goosebumps vibes. Like, I just was like, oh, I would have shown up to this house and been like, sorry, cuz, I'm out. Like, no, absolutely not. In this book, we are following our main character, Noemi. She gets a letter from her cousin. It's like, hey, I'm in danger. You need to come pretty much save me. So Noemi goes to this town and this very famous house where her cousin and her husband live and his family. And oh, Lord, they are, like I said, creep factor, like, to the max, and some crazy stuff starts happening in this house, and I love where this book went. It was so unique, so interesting. I have never read a book that goes in a direction like this, and the writing is absolutely stunning. Again, the atmosphere in this book is like top tier, so good, and I was just thoroughly creeped out but enjoying myself the entire time. I loved it. I thought it was so well done. I would highly recommend this to anyone who is looking to get into horror. There's some gross things that happen in here, but it's not like too gross. It's not extreme horror by any means. So if you're like, I'm not sure like where to begin with horror, this was incredible to start with. You have the haunted house vibes, you have a creepy family and creepy cast of characters, you have some gross things that start happening, and a really cool ending. So all in all, a fabulous time. My next 4-star read is The Collective by Allison Galen. Let me just say that I am really proud of myself for reading so many books off my physical TBR this month. I think I read like 6 or 7 books off my own physical TBR, which like just felt so good, and like pat on the back for me. I'm really proud of myself. It was one of my goals to read, obviously, the books on my physical TBR, and like, we're really working through it, and just, I'm proud. Anyways, this is one of them. This one's been sitting on my shelf for months and months and months and months, so it was time to finally get to it, and this was a good time. This is such a page turner. I would consider this more of a suspense than I would a thriller, because there's not anything that's like a huge twist or anything like that. There's some small things, but more so this book is about anxiety building and the suspense throughout this entire plot line and what's going to happen. But I really enjoyed my time. I think the premise of this is really unique, because in this book we are following our main character Camille, whose daughter passes away, and she is like completely distraught, and this book takes place 5 years after the fact, and she is just completely distraught. Her life is just going downward spiral ever since. She cannot get over the fact that the person who is responsible for her daughter's death is walking free, and she is just going down the rabbit hole. And then she finds The Collective and finds herself a little bit of hope, and finds herself a group of people who can really relate, and who also, you know, might seek vengeance and justice on the people that have wronged them. This is like a real life horror. Like, this could actually come to life, and that's terrifying. Like, truly, absolutely terrifying, but it makes for an incredible book. It was anxiety inducing. I just kept turning and turning. I also listened to this on audio, and I really enjoyed the audiobook. We have emails in here, and we have computer things or whatever, and all of that is really like fleshed out really well in the audiobook, so I really enjoyed it. I read in tandem, and it was a good time. But yeah, I mean, this was 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I just kept needing to know what was going to happen next. I love where it went. And like I said, as like twisted as it is that this could actually happen in real life, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Next we have You're Invited, which I actually checked out from the library, so I don't have a physical copy with me. But this was 4 stars. I really had a great time while reading this. This is one of my favorite things in thrillers, although I consider this, again, more of like a suspense, a mystery. This one's kind of hard to categorize, whatever you want to say. We have friends that were estranged and come back together for a wedding. And I just love thrillers that take place around weddings. I just think it's so fun. And in this one, like I said, we have friends that are coming back together, and on the wedding day, the bride goes missing. So you're following the kind of investigation as the hotel that the wedding takes place at is interviewing the different guests and family members of the bride to try to figure out what happened, but we're also getting the backstory of this friendship, and it's just a good time. I also really loved learning about the different traditions and culture of Sri Lanka, where this book takes place. I just find that so interesting. I love learning about different countries and the way they do things, so I feel like that was also done really well. I would, however, look up trigger warnings before diving into this one because it does cover a variety of different topics. Again, this was just another fast-paced, really quick thriller, and I really enjoyed it. And then this next one I listened to on audio on recommendation on my audiobook video from my friend Jan. Thank you so much, because this was incredible. It was The Night Swim by Megan Golden. This book is so incredible on audio. In this book, we are following our main character, Rachel, who is a true crime podcaster, and she is going to this town to cover a current case. But while she's there, someone leaves a anonymous, mysterious note on her car to have her look into a case of the past. So it's really unfolding this current case while also this past case and how possibly maybe they might overlap. This book is dark and it does cover a lot of dark topics again, so look up trigger warnings. But oh my gosh, the audiobook is so good because it's a podcast. It truly sounds like a podcast. So she does like episodes in between the chapters to try to catch you up on what's happening on the case, and it's so good. So good. Also, one of the narrators is the same narrator as A Good Girl's Guide to Murder narrator, which is one of my favorites. It also tripped me up a little bit because I was like, hey, Pip's not in this book, but that's Pip's voice. But I loved it. It was such a good time. Definitely listen to this on audio. I mean, you could listen to the physical one too, but really having the integration of the actual like physical podcast in the audiobook was amazing. Chef's Kiss, highly recommend. And then we have a book that took a turn that I was not expecting to have so many feelings about. I thought this was just going to be light and fun, and it was, but it also made me so angry at the same time, and that is The Maid by Nita Prose. This book. Okay, this is like a cozy mystery / thriller, right? About a maid in a hotel. What I did not know about this book, and this is never actually said anywhere in the book, but it is very much giving that Molly Gray, our main character, is on the spectrum somewhere. And this poor thing just keeps getting taken advantage of, and it was driving me up a wall and like almost bringing me to tears because I've seen that happen in real life so many times where people have invisible disabilities and people just walk all over them or think that they can take advantage of them because nothing's wrong, or they're acting out, or they're doing, they're acting a certain way that's not normal, but really there's obviously something more going on there. Anyways, it was giving that, and I was like so angry the entire time. because Molly is just an incredible character. She's so real, she's so authentic, she's so raw. And like I said, this is not actually said out loud, but I believe, in my opinion, that she is on the spectrum. And just the amount of people that take advantage of this poor girl is absolutely disgusting. With that being said, this book is fun, okay? It's a good mystery. I really enjoyed it, but that added factor of it, I was not expecting to have so many feelings. I was expecting this to just be a good time, something I was going to fly through. It was going to be something that was maybe a little bit forgettable, but still fun. But no, this one made a lasting impact on me. And I just cannot stop thinking about it and cannot stop thinking about Molly. She does get hers in the end, okay? Do not get me wrong. She is not a victim or trampled over the entire time, which we love to see, but it was just so hard to read. So hard to read. And I haven't seen many people talk about that, but I just feel like I have to say it because it's just what the experience that I had. Like I said, I really enjoyed my time at reading this book, but it was very difficult. We have 2 left in the 4-star category. We are almost there, and the next one is Rules for Vanishing by Kate Alice Marshall. I had said in a video earlier this year that I really wanted to read more from her because I've heard such incredible things. So this month I read Rules for Vanishing, and I really loved it. It was a fun ghost story. In this book, we are following our main character whose sister has gone missing and has been missing for a while, and this town would take place in Massachusetts, mind you, which is where I live, which we just love to see. I love when books take place in my home state. It makes it so fun. But anyways, this town is kind of known for its ghost story, which was totally giving Salem vibes, which I love, even though Salem is witches, but it just felt like that kind of energy. And this group of friends go off on this adventure to try to find the missing sister, but also try to unpack this ghost story. And like I said, it was a really good time. This is a little bit darker than I was expecting, but her writing is so incredible. And again, I listened to the audiobook and it was so fun because there was an entire cast of characters. So each character had their own voice. And even though it was young adult, it didn't read super young adult. And I just love the twist at the end. I thought it was so well done. And also just this book definitely, its atmosphere is so present and there's so many creepy things, and we also have so many different settings throughout this because we are going and following this group of friends as they're going through the woods, and things start changing and things start happening, and just the atmosphere is so good. I just picture fog everywhere, and the descriptions in this are incredible. So I had a really good time. Like I said, it was a little bit darker than I was expecting, but I love that. I love when young adult horror just hits. And my last 4-star book, I literally just finished, quite literally just finished, and is Confessions by Kanae Minato. Oh God, let's not even try. I am so sorry. Regardless, this book is so dark and disturbing. I'm still a little taken back by it. So dark. So dark. But what I love about this book is that it takes you through a journey of every perspective in this scenario. So we start off with a teacher who is giving a little bit of a speech to her group of students. The teacher's daughter was just murdered, and she is giving the speech to her students saying, I know that one of you, or 2 of you, murdered my daughter. And here's how this is going to kind of play out. And every single chapter in this book, there's only 6 chapters. They are long, which is not my favorite, but I did listen to it on audio, so it went a little bit faster. But every single chapter is from a different perspective. So we get the teacher, we get the 2 students who are involved, we get another teacher, and every single chapter leaves you with a cliffhanger, and it's so well done, and you just need to keep going to figure out how much more twisted and disturbing could this get. But oh no, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse every perspective that you get. I'm at a loss for words. It's so well done. The writing is incredible. Definitely look up trigger warnings first because there are a lot in here. If you were a parent, this one might be just too much, but oh my gosh, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It's not something that I feel like I could like widely recommend to everyone, but if you like dark and disturbing, you may enjoy this one. Okay, let's move into the 5-star books. The first one, as I'm still thinking about it, which is why it's a 5-star, is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. Again, like I said, reading more of her backlist, and this one was so impactful. This one takes inspiration from the R. Kelly case that we all know, of him taking advantage of young girls. So in this book, we are following a teenager who wants to be in the music industry world, and we are following as she gets involved and basically groomed by this musician and the dark and disturbing things that happen to her along the way. It's amazing. I mean, I don't have any other words other than it's amazing, incredible, heartbreaking, real, raw. And again, look up trigger warnings. Man, I read a lot of books that need like that that disclaimer on it this month. It was absolutely incredible. Like I said, I'm still thinking of it because just how well done it was, and Tiffany D. Jackson is just so good at conveying these stories in such an impactful way, in such a memorable way, and also in a heartbreaking, dark, and disturbing way. This book is not easy. It is not an easy read. I did listen to it on audio. It was incredible. Of course, if you look up trigger warnings and you're okay proceeding, this book will leave a lasting impact on you. My next 5-star is probably not going to be any surprise to anyone because I feel like this entire series is probably going to end up being 5 stars, and I might end up repeating myself like a million times, but I'm still going to talk about it. And it's the second in the Wayward Children series by Shauna McGuire. This is Down Among the Sticks and Bones. This one follows Jack and Jill from the first one, so it kind of unpacks their story and what happened to them behind their door. And is so interesting and so much darker than I was expecting. I mean, I know that it was dark, given that the first one and what happened in Every Heart a Doorway, I knew that it was going to be dark, but it's definitely a lot darker than I was expecting. But I mean, just absolutely incredible. Shauna McGuire's writing is insane. It's so good. It is so good. And this series, I mean, these little short fantasy novellas are everything. They're exactly what I need in between all of these other books to just kind of like bring up my mood again. This book definitely like pulls at your heartstrings. It makes you mad. It makes you angry. Gives you hope. And I loved it. I loved it so much. And there's drawings in this, and I literally like gasped when I saw the artwork in this book. Is stunning. This picture will like last in my brain for a while, and I guarantee someone has this tattooed on them, and I'm a little jealous. Next, we have a book I was not expecting to give 5 stars because it is a bit outside of my comfort zone. We know that I'm just getting into horror, okay? But I read this for a book club, for the Midnight Society book club with Reading Riley. It was her first one, and I was like, you know what? I want to support Elizabeth. I think she's an incredible creator. I really am looking for more book clubs. This book is outside my comfort zone. But oh my god, I cannot stop thinking about this book, and it's Mother Thing by Ainsley Hogarth. I don't have a physical copy, but I am going to buy one because I need to reread it and annotate it because this book is so weird. It is so weird. It's so dark, it's twisted, it's weird, and I freaking loved it. The writing in this book is absolutely incredible. It is a little bit over the top, like there's a description for everything, but I don't think it took away from the story. If anything, I just think it added to the story. This book is weird. It's so weird. Okay, in this book we are following a husband and wife, and they move in with the mother-in-law, so the husband's mother, and she ends up unaliving herself at the beginning. So you're following as that happens, and then maybe some haunting things start happening. But this book is so much more than that. It covers so many different topics, from obviously suicide to the relationship of mother to son to daughter-in-law and mother-in-law to mother and daughter to mothers in general and children in general, and just, oh my gosh, it's so good. The themes woven throughout this are so well done because they are done in such a dark and creepy way, and the way this book ends, it will forever be on my mind. It is my favorite book of this month, and I, again, was not expecting it. It came out of left field, it gave me a punch in the face, and I'm here for it. And we have made it. We're going to talk about my last book, my last 5-star of the month, and that is Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. I am finding that T. Kingfisher is one of my favorite authors. Her writing is absolutely stunning. I love it. I also just love her character building so much, and this book was exactly what I needed, what I was looking for. I wouldn't consider this cozy fantasy because it's definitely darker, but it made me feel really cozy. So I'm putting it in that category. This is a shorter fantasy. I believe it's less than 300 pages, and it's a standalone, which we love to see. This book is a bit of a fairy tale vibe, but again, a little bit darker, although let's be real fairy tales are also very dark. So in this book, we are following a princess whose sisters, one of them has passed away, the second one is married to the king at the current time, and she is just being made to reproduce and reproduce and reproduce, and she wants to do something about it. So she sets out on this adventure, and she has to complete 3 impossible tasks to kind of get to the point where she's able to do something about this. This is a very vague description because I don't want to give anything away, but this book has everything that I love in a fantasy. Really good plot line, very easy to follow along, found family, which is my favorite thing ever. The cast of characters in this book are so amazing and witty, and just the way they all come together and work together, it's like the oddballs coming together, and I love it. But I love that this also has a darker tone to it. It's definitely not as cozy as some cozy fantasies like A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking, like Legends and Lattes. It's definitely darker than that, but it just made me feel all warm and fuzzy, and I am obsessed with it. And this is definitely something that I could see myself rereading a million times over. And again, T. Kingfisher's just so good at writing. So good at writing. I will now be deep diving into the backlist because the past 2 books that I have read from her, I have loved. I know she's coming out with a new one this year, which I already am have my eye on, but definitely the backlist is happening because I can't get enough. I can't get enough of her writing. And that, my friends, is it. Will we do this again? No, we will not. If you see me reading this many books another month, you need to call me out because this is too much. Doing this wrap up was too much. Reading this many books is too much. But I hope you enjoyed regardless. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. I also would love to know in the comments what your favorite book of the month of January for you was. Like I said, mine, it's so hard to decide. I'm Mother Thing or Nettle and Bone. That's where I'm landing between those 2. But I would love to know what your favorite was. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. It would truly mean the world for you to join this little family we have going on here. Turn on the bell so you never miss a video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!